So we're going to jump right in. Devon is going to start off with number one and really removing distractions or temptation that we sometimes come across.
Yeah, so you've heard us talk about the importance of removing distractions, removing temptation when it comes to your entrepreneurial journey. We've mentioned things about how distracting and how much of a time sink something like scrolling through social media can be, or perusing Netflix. Even if you are binge watching for research purposes, to call back an episode that we did, it can still end up being a time sink and rob you of the most valuable asset that you have as an entrepreneur and a solopreneur when it comes to building out your business. And again, that is exactly it, your time. And so while that's an important component of it, I think it's also important when we talk about removing temptation to touch on other aspects of potential temptation when it comes to being an entrepreneur or a solopreneur. When we go through social media, when you're, interacting on the internet, it can be very easy to get enamored with the highlight reel that everybody is producing for you, right? Like when you're looking at this stuff, these entrepreneurs, folks who quote unquote may be going through the same journey, are really at the end of the day, there's a good portion out there that are only showing you the highlight reels or the staged highlights, right? Mm-hmm. The staged highlights. As much as I grew up enjoying wrestling as a kid, my great grandmother, my other mama is what we called her. She used to watch it, and I got hooked from that age and watching Booker T and Hulk Hogan and all these other folks, Undertaker. At some point, I grew up and realized, oh, this is staged, right? Like this is scripted. And while these folks are athletes, you don't want to diminish that. They're definitely athletes. But the things I'm seeing, like Stone Cold Steve Austin is not really the most unstoppable wrestler in the world. They scripted him to be that. The Rock is not the most unstoppable wrestler in the world. They scripted him to be that. Well, there's a lot of folks that you may be getting exposure to on social media that are entrepreneurs or building their business or whatever the case may be, and they're really not the most savvy, unstoppable entrepreneur in the world. They just scripted their Instagram to be that. And sometimes you can go down that rabbit hole of temptation and lust and idolizing individuals, and that take you off of your game or your purpose because you're so caught up in, well, how do I actualize that immediately? Not realizing that what you're seeing is not real results. And the folks that you should be gleaning from, learning from, leaning into are actually probably individuals who are not documenting every facet of their journey on social media because they're too busy doing the work. It's the small business in your area that has been able to maintain their doors through COVID. That's somebody that you want to be able to learn from, lean into, ask questions about the things that they had to navigate and overcome. It's the person who jumped out on a leap of faith and started maybe on a small little side hustle, and over these past couple of months or years, you've seen that balloon into them being able to incorporate or get their own physical space or move out of their home and move into another location and grow their business that way. And while, yeah, that's not the sexy Lambo, right? That's not the sexy trips to Italy. That's where the real lessons and the real value is. And sometimes we can get so tempted by the flash that it deters us from the work. And so it's just important, like from a self-discipline perspective, that you're able to remove yourself from that temptation, be able to filter some of that, and kind of discern what is real and what's rooted in results, and what is, again, the stage highlight reel. What if this is wrestling, and what if this is work? Right? What if this is real work? And so I think that's just important when we talk about removing temptation. So not just social media, not just binge watching and things like that, but also removing the temptation of results that are not rooted in reality.
Nah, you cooking over there, man. I love that. I love that. Um, Even as we were preparing to have this conversation and get into this topic, I wasn't even necessarily thinking about it from that perspective, but I love how you just broke that down for our uncompromising entrepreneurs out there. we do talk a lot about this in the sense that there's things that, tactics that you can and probably should do. You have to know yourself, right? So knowing yourself is important. When we think about our Focus for Success course, there's two main components of that. And you can go to uncompromisingcoaches.com. You can click on the courses tab. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. But there's distraction diffuser, and then our productivity secrets. So, and I know you were obviously the main one focusing on the distraction diffuser series and those 9 videos itself. But we talk about, knowing your personality, knowing what learning style, what working style is going to be best for you, what hours of the day you feel more energized and ready to get into work, and turning off your phone. If every time your phone pings, whether it's a social media, a text, and you're picking it up and looking at it, that's a problem because those are distractions. That's time it's being taken away from this task, this project that you're working on. So being able to, again, diffuse those distractions to remove the temptation from you. If you know that every time I get a ping, I'm going to look at my phone, put it on airplane mode, turn it off, remove those distractions from you so that you have the opportunity to be able to lock in, to have that laser like focus. And using the Pomodoro technique, using apps like Engross and things that we've talked about a number of times to be able to say, okay, for this 25 minutes, for this 50 minutes, I'm going to focus solely on this work that I'm doing, this task that I need to get done. And I'm not going to check emails. I'm closing my email down. I have my phone either off or on airplane mode so that I'm not getting those distractions, and I'm removing the temptation to, once I get that ping, to pick up the phone and to take a look at it. So many, again, different examples that you can look at. But I also love, the distractions within social media, which is just the distraction of the noise and other people out there that you may be looking to as mentors, the gurus, the self-proclaimed gurus that are showing things on social media, but that might not necessarily be how they're truly living life.